Happy holidays and Merry Christmas. You're watching Drakewing Gaming. Oh, one moment. And enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drakewing Gaming, and 79 Twitter, the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back to you with another Let's Play episode of Beasts of the Thorns, Chris's Path. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right back in, shall we? Alarm Chan, you are up, and let's go! Alrighty. It's too much to ask even the best of athletes to be ready to score the points in 3 days at an event in a whole new field. But there's no point in saying that Chris's easygoing nature is just a facade. If he decides something from the bottom of his heart, he'll never change it. He'll just smile softly and leave it at that. I put heavy footwork to approach him. Chris recognized my footsteps from afar and became alert. He wiped his sweat, straightened his clothes, and pretended to be at ease. He didn't want me to worry. I sighed. All right, I've decided that I'll make sure he rests, no matter what. But convincing him directly won't work. My mind raced, and I decided to take a page from a Moore's book and use a roundabout approach. How's the training going? Everything went well. Nothing to worry about. Chris had a nervous smile on his lips, afraid that it would see through his bravado. Yeah, I believe you can do it. I actually envy you for giving so much attention so much to Nud. When I was a kid, I remember Nud taking you everywhere, fishing, watching ball games, windsurfing on the beach. You guys were so close. Chris smiled warmly, lost in the past. I suppose all the interests you have are brought to you by Nud. Well, he was a big influence on me. He's a very energetic person, and there's no way to stay home quietly. I wish my father would take me out too, for once. Chris's face collapsed as he worriedly contemplated how to comfort me. Never mind what I said. Time will fade these things. It's just that I think it's time for me to find a hobby. I used to take up most of my life with schoolwork, and now that I'm free of it, I feel a bit empty. Chris nodded. Having a hobby that allows you to get away from the worries of everyday life makes a big difference. Music, for example, is a method of self-healing that I use to feel better when I put my fingers on the keys when I'm feeling upset. Will you teach me? I want to learn the song you used to play for me. Of course, it's just... Chris looked at the exercise equipment at hand with embarrassment. But I can't decide which instrument to practice yet. Maybe we can go to the experimental exhibition NGC 5236. I'm sure I can find inspiration. Yeah, like he would actually say that. Chris, sure, but... Please, don't worry about me. I'm fine walking through a music show by myself. Even without my best friend by my side, I'm strong enough to walk through a music show, alone, all by my lonesome. After all, when I'm exiled to a strange foreign land, I always have to start getting used to being alone, don't I? I'll go with you. Let me take a shower first. I inwardly waved a victory sigh. I'm really spoiled by Amore. Then I'll meet you in the Honey Wine Lounge. That's a nice name. Or maybe Amore's still there and we can go together. Chris nods, gathers his utensils, and gets ready to freshen up. For some reason, he insisted on not using communal shower space in the basement, and every time he would go to the single bathroom on the third floor, which had almost become his exclusive bathroom. Because of their fur, the demons didn't mind letting others see their bodies, often seeing fraternity members running around with nothing but a pair of shorts on. Ugh, I got a Capri Sun. Tropical punch. And occasionally bumping into naked members in the basement, which was a bit of a surprise at first, but they got used to it. But that principle doesn't apply to Chris, who won't even take off his shirt even when he's soaked to the skin. Maybe it's a habit from his human side. But I have to say, I'm curious about how the different colors of fur on his chest and belly are distributed. Anyway, Chris and I walked down to the first floor to separate, and he went to freshen up while I headed for the mead hall. The Hall of Honey Wine has its usual quiet atmosphere. Many of the magical creatures were in the halls, studying quietly. There are many people sitting at the long wooden tables in the hall, but everyone favors the end near the fire. I find the fire to be sleepy and unsuitable for study. And yet Amore is nowhere to be found. After all, video games are like candy to Amore. He's not going to be able to resist. I found a corner to sit down and wait for Chris, turned on my cell phone, and searched for the NGC 5236 Music Club exhibition. As a result of my search, I found out that the Music Club's exhibition was 100,000 miles away from the location of the video game gaming club's exhibition, and was not in the neighborhood that Amore was talking about. The music club's exhibition is in the concert hall in the plaza in front of the College of Humanities. Although the Outer Realm Academy doesn't have a music department, the music facilities are quite complete, so I guess it must be because the magical creatures love festivals. I memorized the directions and prepared to navigate Chris. I don't think I have a bad memory, but for some reason I'm not very good at directions. I have to look at the map on my phone for a while before I know where I am. I have to spend a lot of time looking for directions when I don't have my friends with me. Chris is very good at this kind of work. However, I didn't even have to tell Chris where the music club show was. Chris freshened up and got ready and led me straight to the location. He had already checked out the location, so it seems he had plans to go, but had to cancel because of the training zone. I knew Chris loved music. He had shown great talent from a young age, but after a family tragedy, he wasn't able to continue his education. I thought he would regain his love when he came to the outer limits, but I was wrong. He still had to put away his passion and compromise with reality again. I'm glad I forced him to go to the music club exhibition because his tail was wagging as we traveled to the exhibit. It was a mixed bag of emotions to see him so cautiously jubilant. Not long after, we arrived at the music hall of the Humanities College. The historic building, adorned with beautiful reliefs, depicted the 6 times the Outlands resisted invaders, but oddly enough, even in the reliefs depicting the Battle of the North Mountain, there was no sign of a dragon. Oh, hello there, new people. Oh, interesting, a male siren. The president is a male siren, who are predominantly female, making male sirens quite rare. But he was busy adjusting the strings at the booth, leaving no time to greet guests. Instead, it was a Kelpie who guided us on the tour. Welcome, we are NGC 5236. We have Big 5 bands, 20 small bands. The main band has graduated and has released albums as an independent band. You should have heard of the name of Southwind Car Stars. I know. I really like their debut album, Dust Bomb. Aggressive and bold, but retro at the same time. Reinterpreting disco music from half a century ago with a modern twist. Quite a good match. Kelpie smiled serenely. True, but the other smaller bands are pretty good too, each with a different character, and we're quite a free and diverse music community. The history of the music club is very ancient, dating back to the Battle of Arrow Lake in the Outlands. During the battle, the Outlanders hunted down a magical instrument from the witch folk, which led to the study of their music and songs, ultimately fostering cultural integration between the Outlands and the witch folk. Our music club was formerly the guard that guarded this instrument, the Bardic Knights. Later the instrument was modified and became a specialty instrument of the Outlands. Kelpie shows the instrument in his hands. It is similar in type to a lyre, but much more elegant. When strumming the strings, it produces a full and round tone. The treble tone is light, but the bass range is very thick. His tone is beautiful and unique, unlike any instrument I've ever heard. This is the Darak, the sound of the outer world. The Kelpie cleared his throat and skillfully sketched chords on the Dalak. The head of the 1,000-year tyrant fell, and the shepherd's boy's banner rose. The enchanting 9-tailed fox extended a helping hand, and the tearful crowned the youth. Ogimi, ah Ogimi. Though human beings are like butterflies in the middle of winter, their thoughts are always in the summer woodland. Chris and I couldn't help but applaud the fact that Kelpie has a great time-worn voice and sings 9 tales of love in a heartwarming way, and you can hear the depth of his vocals in just a few lines. Smiling at Chris's tickled look, Kelpie handed Chris the dulcimer and asked him to try it out. Chris strummed the strings and then got lost in his studies. In ancient times, the Outer Realms were led by 3 professions: the forest priests, the hunters, and the minstrels. Minstrels not only entertained the people and boosted the morale of the armies, but also sang about history, so minstrels and musicians had high status in the Outlands. But the Outer Realm Academy doesn't seem to have a music department. That's right, because our history is passed down through music and singing. We have a music history department, but not a pure music department. Cats are really being loud. One second, y'all. Give me one moment. Alright, y'all, we are back. Okay. The entertainment function of music is dominated by our music club, and that's why we have a large number of people, the largest of all clubs. So, what instrument are you good at? Strings, winds, percussion, or are you a singer? The Kelpies pressed me with sudden enthusiasm, and I was stumped. I don't know anything. I don't know how to do anything. Nothing? What's better? It means you have infinite possibilities. Come on, try the Dalican first. As he spoke, Kyle slipped me another Dalek, and I had to take it with both hands, strumming the strings as I went along. It's embarrassing to be stared at so passionately. However, Chris had already familiarized himself with a dulcimer and began to play the same tune that I used to pester him with when I was a kid. For a moment, the nearby crowd suddenly lowered its volume. Everyone listened intently to Chris, and the taste of childhood awakened with the melody vividly. I smiled as I enjoyed the highs and lows of the scales. I could feel the harmony in Chris's heart, and it was easy to resonate with the music. And this time Chris didn't make a mistake. He struck every note with precision and in tune. As I thought this, I could feel Chris's joy. He danced his fingers with more confidence. The music poured out, and finally Chris ended his performance with a magnificent chord, which was met with applause from all around. That's nice. It's the first time I've heard it. Is it a human tone?
No, it was taught to me by my father, who came from the Outer Realms. Though originally there were lyrics, I can't remember them. Only the melody remains in my head.
The Kelpie is in deep thought. Although it's a bit arrogant to say so, I'm at least a graduate student in music history, and I've mastered 90% of the Outer Limits music, and this is the first time I've ever heard this melody. But it just so happens that this is the style of the Outer Limits.
Chris paused for a moment, wanting to speak. My dad is related to Baskerville by blood, so maybe this tune has something to do with that family.
The Kelpie tapped his forehead in a sudden realization. Ah, the Baskerville house of the Black Demon Dog. Wilgie. That makes some sense. I'm guessing it's a passage from a poem by the Canine hero Cullen, but I'll have to ask my senior, who specializes in the music associated with the Kulan Wushan poem. With that, Kelpie dialed the phone, gave us a look that would excuse us for a moment, and turned to walk away. He didn't realize that song had lyrics. I didn't realize that song had lyrics.
I didn't tell you about it, after all. I can't remember it. I can only remember the melody.
After all, you have a very strong sense of sound. But it's great that we can find the forgotten lyrics. It's an unexpected pleasure. It's really a good thing that the exhibition is here. Alright, y'all, I'm actually going to pause it right there. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. I love you all, and I'll wish y'all a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays. Bye-bye!